In this video, we are going to talk about variables, right? So I'm going to go ahead here and create a new Kotlin file. So say new Kotlin file. I'm going to name this variables definition. Okay, say enter. Now you notice we have a new file here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of this. That's just junk. We don't need that. All right, so again, I'm going to go ahead and say fun for function, and I'm going to say main. This is very important because each Kotlin file needs to have a main function, which is the first entry point for the program. So we're going to say here args, say array, and we're going to pass here string. Of course, we have to put our braces there to signify that we are creating a function. So anything that comes inside here will run when we run this program, this project. So we are going to be talking about variables. Okay, so variables are a very important topic in any programming language you will ever learn. Variables allow us to set spaces in memory and to say that these spaces here, we are going to put certain kind of information. And whenever we want that information back, we can refer to that spot or to that variable name. Okay, so think of it as a little bucket where we can put information. Okay, so again, if we put information somewhere, you want to be able to bring it back, right? How do we create a variable? The first thing we need to do in Kotlin, we say var. That's the keyword we need to use to start a variable. So again, var, and we have to give it a name, right? Because we need to give it a name that we can then use it to get the value that we have added to it. So we're going to say, for instance, name, okay? And we're going to go say equals Paulo, like that. The other thing you may have noticed already here is that with Kotlin, you don't need semicolon, right? In many other languages, you need a semicolon to signify that this statement here is ending. Okay, so in Kotlin, no need for those. In fact, if you add one, you will have this little warning that say redundant semicolon. Okay, perfect. So now here, what we did, we created a variable. We start with var and we name it name. So we're creating that little bucket and we name it name. And then we are assigning Paulo to the name, which means now if we say print ln and we pass in name, what do you think is going to happen? All right, let's go ahead and run this. And there we go. It says Paulo. Okay. Now notice something here. This is called a string. Okay. And we'll talk more about string in the next video. So a string essentially is a text. All right. So we put double quote. Whatever is inside double quotes is considered a string. So we are putting this string inside of our name. Okay. We can go ahead and create another variable. We can say var last name. And we can say is shown, okay, and we can go ahead and say print line, pass in last name, and you notice the moment we put LA, IntelliJ here is smart enough to say, hey, I think you meant you want this last name here variable, right? So we don't have to type it out ourselves. We can just go ahead and say enter, and voila. All right. Save and run. We should see Paulo shown. And naturally, we can keep doing. So we said var again. Let's say what else? Dog name. We can say doofus, something like that. And we could go ahead and say print line. Say dog name. There it is, right? And so enter. If you save this and go ahead and run, we should see Paulo shown doofus. Now you can start seeing the power of having these variables here, because now we can infer by calling the name and we get the result, or we get whatever we have put inside of those buckets, inside of the variable. As you can see here, we have Paulo in one line and shown in the next line. So if you wanted to put all of this in one print line, we can actually concatenate things. We can say plus, and we say last name. If we save this, And let's give it a run again. We should see Paulo Dishon. As you can see here, we don't have a space between Paulo and Dishon. So what we can do to add a space, we can just add a string, an empty string. In fact, we can put a space there and put a plus. Now this space here will be read as a string, but since it's an empty string, it will give us a space that we need. Okay, so save this, save run, and we should see the Paulo space Dishon. Obviously, we could have added a dog name as well here, so we can say copy, and we can even add other strings inside. Let's concatenate, so plus, and here we can say has a dog named. You can get in the next line here, and we can say dog name. All right. So now let's save this and run. We should say Paulo Dishon has a dog named Doofus. Okay. Now we're constructing a string here, but all of this is coming from our variables. All right, so go ahead and play around with this new knowledge that you have now. So go ahead and create different variables, right? And give them different values and print them out and see if you can concatenate them or adding them together as we did here, and add text in the middle as well if you want. And just to make it look something like this we had here at the bottom in our console. All right, I think you can manage it. Okay, perfect. So I'll see you next.